Let me ask you a question. Can you go from one slave master to another slave master and not still be a slave after? No laughing matter. People say they Muslim, Egyptologists, Christian, Baptist, Scientologists, Buddhists. This is foolishness. That's religion. Root word of religion is religio. Religio means the bind of the trap. So why not free ourselves from the wickedness? Argue facts. Us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal people, gods and goddesses, kings and queens, prophets and prophets, soldiers and soldierists, stay on holy missions of philosophies of holiness existence. So therefore, that means that we technically, genetically, is the original peoples on this planet. The Bible manifests as the truth, and we all Hebrew Israelites. So with the freak, people sit back and talk about these organized religions from slave master doctrines that put us in slavery, yet they all based off the scriptures that our ancestors wrote in the Bible. Son, wasn't the first people, well, one of the first civilizations, Mesopotamia, and also Iraq, where the Garden of Eden is at? And wasn't that the fact that us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal people, the ancestry, if you go to Asia, Asiatic, that's why the drawings on the walls look just like so-called African Americans. Major factors, and did not the pyramids in the how the Bible talks about the slaves that was in Egypt, wasn't they black, Hispanic, Native, Aboriginal Israel? They built the pyramids from Egypt all the way to Mexico. And last time I checked, Egyptians never went to Mexico. These facts is major, yo. And what is an Egyptologist? That don't make no sense because the word Egypt means slavery or bondage. So that means an Egyptologist is a slaverytologist. That's some real shit. And think about it. People say that Muslims do not know that Aramaics enslaved the Israelites, what you call African Americans, or Akibalon Azerafin. These are major factors. Listen there. People say they're Christian or Baptist. Well, wasn't that the fact of Esau that put us in slavery, taught us to think about the fact that this was from the frame of energy of slavery and put us in a position of any Sunday church snatchers, purse snatchers that spend all the fucking things that we give the pastor and give it to the pagan Vatican that financed the slave ship to begin with. But then they sit back and say I spit shit ignorant. Why? Because I pay attention to the fact that the government lied and manipulated, the fact that us black, Hispanic, Native, Aboriginal people was put in slavery. Because of the fact that if you go all the way backwards, you realize the fact that in Afghanistan, or my bad, Israel, where our ancestors come from, or I should say Mesopotamia, or I can also say Iraq, and they're all Middle East, major facts. But hold up, when I sit back and say Iraq, Iraqi government, well, Saddam Hussein actually proved the Garden of Eden still runs through Iraq. That's a fact. That means that the government already knew all that. That means we've been lied to everywhere on the map because the government put us in slavery, miseducated us, hanged us, raped us, kidnapped us, put us in enslavement in every geological place, put us in reservations and plantations, threw us out of our own nation, changed the name of Azerf or Turtle Island to this philosophy of America. And I understand the philosophies of Amaruco or Amerigo. All these names predate America, but the name of America is a slave name. Technically, we were slaves before we even called America. So why the federal government fucking lie and manipulate and tell us that we wrong for saying that we need freedom and liberation on a global stage? We also need spirituality, education, love for the Father, Yah, and all the people around the globe and every nation. But the government wants to stay that we basically just minorities. And the fucked up part about it, that's a lie in itself because how could we be minorities when we existed on this planet before anyone else. Us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal people, say the word Aboriginal, original people, gods, goddesses, kings, and priests, prophets, and prophets, soldiers and soldieresses, holy decisions, philosophists of understand that God's a black man, and Christ's a black man, and the troll tribes is black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal, gods and goddesses, kings and queens, prophets and prophets, and soldiers and soldieresses with melanin, then the slave master ain't nothing. So why the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, Aryan, Freemasons, Ashkenazis, Vatican stay fronting? Look, this is not National Aeronautics Space Administration. This is Negro Advancement Spiritual Association for all us black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous, Aboriginal gods and goddesses, kings and queens, prophets and prophets, soldiers and soldieresses. Shalom.